Well, Strange New Worlds is going on course to where I guess what was it, the third episode or the fourth? The third episode was the one with Kirk and Lady Khan going in. I think so, which I actually didn't mind as much, and I saw that they did some good scenes together in it and all that. But overall, it's just a very watered down, backwards ripoff of City on the Edge of Forever. But this time Kirk dies, that kind of. And it, there's a lot of reasons why it wasn't very good because overall it just isn't. The next one was much better in that it's just a basic Trek episode, and with the added business of their memory loss and that sort of thing in it, and it's an actual Pike adventure. Pike takes center stage, and this is unusual, and so easily that's the best one. So then I thought, wow, is this a streak? And then the next one, and the next one was just another, insult to Spock and the character, even though now they've, acknowledged that this is not the Spock you knew. This is an alternate reality Spock. He owes everything to Michael Burnham. But the only thing about it was that, there's chemistry between him and the lady playing Chapel and all of that. And then there's moments where she's, for the greater good, sacrificing her chances with him, or so she thinks, and then actually they have a chance to be together and all this sort of stuff. But they've done far worse than that. But in comparison to the previous one, it wasn't that good. So what do they have for the next one? Well, the next one was not as bad as the previous one, so there's that, I suppose I would say, to it. But this one is more of a Uhura focused episode, but it's very derivative of similar plots that have happened. I can think of a few from Next Generation and stuff, but it's this idea of a new life form. And so technically speaking, I can't say it's a world. They're floating around in a giant nebula that they say is in the midst of giving birth to stars and stuff like that, which, since they had a living nebula in the Picard Season 3 series, I suppose this is sort of a nod to that as well. So you can already tell what the plot is about. So there's this space station in there. It needs repair. It's been damaged. And but it's utilizing the elements of the nebula to develop fuel and whatnot. I guess in addition to the lithium crystals. I don't know. But anyway, and then the Enterprise itself is able to recharge itself just passing through the cloud and stuff like that they do. Meanwhile, Uhura gets these weird transmissions and she doesn't know what it is. No one else hears it. And then she starts having hallucinations. She starts having hallucinations of Himmer. So I guess they brought the actor back he was the Andorian character who died in the previous season. But she needed to know certain of the engine room material that is aligned with the communications array or what have you, and he gave her a tutorial on it, and they filmed it, so she had that tape to watch for what to do. And she got a little sad because missed him and all that sort of stuff. Then she starts having zombie visions of him. And then there's other visions, and there's a vision of a mass murder and all this stuff, and then there's a vision of an evil version of her that attacks her. No, not the mirror universe. And all of that sort of stuff. So, what could it be? Some kind of entity within the cloud is trying to communicate with her. It's, you figure that out very quickly. But again, yes, similar things have happened in other Star Trek episodes, and much better. And there really wasn't a whole lot here. So again, it's always lacking in sci-fi concept, and a lot of times just badly borrowing from other sci-fi stories. At least they do it more with old Star Trek than they do it with other things. But they, never gonna really get over that, just ripping off aliens like that and completely changing the Gorn. Alternate timeline doesn't explain how the Gorn are that different. It really does. But then, hey, they never mention that they lay eggs in people. Yeah, well, come on. You just wanted to steal from aliens. So you just really can't forgive stupid stuff like that. despite the fact the show looked really cool and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all good you can say about it. Anyway, so Kirk shows up again, another guest starring role for Lieutenant Kirk at this point. And then there's this rivalry between him and his brother. So they finally have some screen time together and all that. But he ends up trying to help out Uhura. And then right off the bat, he's like, hey, what about Lady Khan? And when she sees he's on the ship, well, they do that scene, and it's, it's rather poignant. He doesn't understand what's going on, but she's, because she fell in love with him in another timeline. So that's probably the most interesting part. It's just that scene there, because of that position she found herself in. And then there he is, and it's like, oh, well. Meanwhile, there's silly flirtations between Spock and Chapel and all that. But anyway, they meet another crewman from the space station, and he's going through the same thing Uhura did, and they discover the reason the space station broke down is it was sabotaged by him, because he's been basically completely driven insane by the entities trying to reach humanity, because it turns out, guess what? All that looking for energy and taking it is killing their people. So there's, I guess, a sort of environmental message there and conservation or what have you. But it can't communicate on the human level, so it's trying to, but it's driving them insane. And so Uhura is on the way to suffer the same fate. But, of course, this doesn't happen, and she's got Kirk's help. And so ultimately she discovers what the problem is, and they resolve it and make peace with this newfound form of life. Still, again, doesn't count as a strange new world. It's a little weird, but you could, I guess you could count the nebula is their world. So there you go, a strange gaseous new world that they finally visited. So after that, they wrap up things, and then Uhura, Kirk, and Spock meet, and which I guess is their 10 forward. I don't know. The original Enterprise never mentioned one. Doesn't mean they didn't, But, they did have like a little, I don't know, rec room or something. But anyway, whatever. This one looks way more like 10 forward than the latter. But anyway, so there's a little scene. Oh, they're all three together. They're three of the original cast characters of the series. And so Kirk and Spock meet for the first time and shake hands. I mean, Spock just doesn't do that. Now, there were Star Trek novels where he couldn't, because if he did, it made the link of a mind meld, and it was difficult for them. So that's why they do the Vulcan symbol. They don't do handshakes or anything. But it's derivative crappy Trek, so they don't know things like that. But nevertheless, that's all it was for the three of them to be at a table together, getting to know each other, because we know what's in their future, or do we? You've said it's alternate, and you keep changing things so drastically. Hey, maybe this is it. They never see each other again. But anyway, that's the deal. Really, it's just moments that they accidentally created, and that's on the ability of the actors to perform those scenes, and it's primarily poor Lady Khan and her feelings for Kirk, and it's it's a painful scene for the position she's in. And maybe something could work out, but he's never going to be the same Kirk that she knew and loved. Yes. So anyway, there you go. Lost in translation. Get it? Yeah. It's hard to talk to gas.